Let's switch over early, I guess. Listen up, here's a story about a little guy that lives in a blue world. And all day and all night and everything he sees is just blue, like him. Inside and outside, blue his house with a blue little window and a blue Corvette. And everybody's blue for him and himself and everybody around. Nobody to listen. This slaps. Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. It's me. Not very well lit up right now. I'll turn that up a tiny bit. My lights moved again, so this is really annoying. My lighting is just all over the place. I have one thing I need to show on stream today. Also, I've just realized my closed captions aren't working. Give me a second. Let's get that up and running. There we go. Testing, testing, testing. There we go. It's working. So, I was on Kip's stream yesterday and suggested he raid into Peralta, and he raided elsewhere. So I popped into Peralta's chat because he's doing an Elden Ring challenge run and witnessed the greatest series of events that I've ever seen. Which one's the one that I want? It's this one. I need this to be... Where are you? It's this. No, it's not this. It's this. It is this. No, that's wrong. Why? That's not the browser source I want. Hello? Firefox. Can you not just reveal my Xbox stuff? That's fine. Okay, I guess. Where is it? Here it is. There we go. It's better. I'm going to pause this. This is the absolute funniest clip I think I've ever taken on Twitch. It dwarfs so many other clips I've taken. Peralta's so funny. And this is such an unfortunate series of events that happens to him.
Big ups, big ups.
So he just drank from a glass. He drank from a mug of water. Spilled the water on him. Put the mug down and knocked his controller over.
Two seconds. My plant just fell at the back.
So unfortunate. It just steadily just went downhill so fast.
Big ups, big ups. Oh no, I just smelled. Oh. There, a controller been dropped. Oh no, there's a plant.
Oh, I'm gonna send this clip to someone.
2 seconds. 2 seconds. My plant just fell at the back.
Actually, so funny. It's such a good clip. It's actually such a good clip. It's so good. It's one of the best clips I've ever done, I think, on Twitch. It's so... it's quickly rising in the ranks to being one of his most viewed clips. It's so funny. Like, how he can have such a series of events like that go down and transpire live on stream. Oh, natural comedy, so funny. So it's the Whammer Wednesday, as well as the official release of the Ducks Dumb Discord. I didn't make a graphic for this. I should have made a graphic for this. I have a Discord now. You can do ! Discord in chat and it will give you a link to join the Discord. But yeah, we have a Discord now. Mainly, I'm not going to be active in there. I have it muted already. I have my own Discord muted so that I don't get notifications for it. I'll go in there when I need to go in there. But mostly, it's a place for people to put creative content that's going to be featured in something I'm going to do. Its sole purpose is not to be the hub. Oh, it's the hub for all things related to me, but it's also, you know, it just exists currently. It's a little rough around the edges. over time, I'll clear up the loose strings that I need to clear up on it, like the bot commands and stuff. But for now, it does exactly what I want it to do, which is give people a place to go to like talk about my content and be creative. So artists or animators or 3D model makers can all. Well, I actually didn't 3D model stuff for it. Just gonna quickly switch to. Oh, I wonder if this is active. This scene. It's not. Yeah, it's not. Oh, it is. There we go. We're not going to keep listening to this music. We are going to be listening to Darktide music. As we do every time we play Darktide, we're going to be listening to Darktide music. So I don't expect this to be a long one. 10:30, 11-ish I'll be finishing. About 2.5 hours. We're actively gaming at the time I wanted to game for, which is nice. So we are currently just working our way through random levels, gearing and building up our level in... Let me turn this off. Let's go full Warhammer mode now. Off stream. Did I do it on stream? I know I definitely did it off stream. I got my Arbite to 30. Did I get to 30? I think I definitely got them to 30. So they're max level now. So they have all the things they need. So I'll go through my masteries real quick. Not masteries, the other ones. They're my talents. So I'm just trying to fix why my lighting's not sitting where I want it to. I'm going to have to tape this fucker right now, aren't I? Yep. Because something's moved. Because somebody's moved something by coming in my room. And it won't fucking sit where I want it to anymore. Facing the right way. Trying to fix my lighting. There we go. That's better. Slightly better because now I can crank it and it will look fine. It doesn't blind me. I also look really low, which means my camera's fallen again. Which means somebody has been in my room and moved stuff. Because my camera's fallen. This is like a security trap to know when people have been in my room. When things have moved on my desk. So. Talents-wise, we are sporting a full left side, no escape, razor jaw augment. Which apparently doesn't work most of the time. Man and Cyber Mastiff. We are rocking the Galactic Shock Mines. These are overpowered right now. We're doing Arbiter Armor, Concussive for suppression hits, and reduce gaining toughness on hitting 3 or more enemies. We are electrocuting enemies as well to grant stun on attacks. We are damaging tough enemies. We are part of the squad, so we gain toughness back continuously for coherency by being with the dog. We've gained extra toughness because of this. The Massive prioritizes long-distance enemies, doing 50% more damage to them, which is quite nice. Possibly going to switch that to Unleashed Brutality. We are fully in the Castigator stance, so when we use our ability, we regain all our toughness, so it's a nice rebuild. But we also can replenish 10% of the total ammo for the clip for a period of time. Our dog does more damage. And then everything else is basically like attacking enemies grants us extra melee damage. And then we build up stacks of melee and shooting that, you know, over time, that does do more damage. So there's nothing else that we really need to go further into other than we do a lot of damage. And we are a walking tank. We are currently rocking the Shock Maul and Suppression Shield and the Subductor Shock Pistol and Riot Shield. We have 3 Curios, which I need to set up the web app to notify me of when I need to log in for Shop Curios, because apparently there's a web app you can do that with now.
How may this humble unit assist
Because, like, this is 300 versus 380, and this is dwarfing it already. So, bolt pistol wise, no. I've seen one of the guns that you can get as the Arbite is incredibly strong, and 19% health, 380. Holy, having that. That's an easy buff. That's an easy replace on the that. Holy! put that sucker on now, even if we do lose on 3% toughness. That's crazy. That thing's insane.
Fear not the foe,
Let's
for you carry with you
bump
martial tokens of
that
the
real quick.
Omnissiah's
Where are you?
blessings.
Green 380. Consecrate that for sure. And consecrate it again just so we get double. Holy! So, damage resistance to snipers is really good, and block efficiency is even better. So that's huge. That's big if huge. 13, 12, 19, 18. But we've only got an orange one, simply 14, because of combat regen, resistance to snipers, and experience. We don't need experience anymore. That can be traded out. So we can trade out experience on both of these. But combat regen's already there. I don't know what we trade out experience for.
Machine God grant his favor.
Let's refine. Experience can go for max health, I guess. Yeah, I guess we go max health.
And what do we
So that makes that 19% max health. So we're just going to push for as max health as much as possible, because toughness is something we're going to build into later. There's Grendel.
Oh, most excellent. I'm in your debt.
Yeah, she said she didn't have time for social climbers. Her exact words. Then
Dirty
she
Dogman
was
and
talking
Stanley.
about, an asteroid?
We are doing name checking.
Perhaps it will wait.
NPC Arbites without named dogs.
Memory with every edict.
And we are so close to doing the next series of next toughness level. Though currently the toughness level we're at, we played through the entire story on easy, and we have to slowly work our way up to get the other difficulties. And it's a lot of fun, slowly climbing the difficulty ranks again.
A ground side complex dish. Said dish is on top of Archivum Sycorax, deep in contested territory. So at least you'll not be bored.
Awful level. The worst level that we could have got straight off the bat. Always fun to get the worst level possible. So yeah, we've had a little bit of a heat boom today. It wasn't supposed to be 25 degrees, and now it is. But at least it's going to go cold tonight, 13 degrees. But then the next couple days, that temperature has boomed really quickly. Are we right at the beginning or right at the end? Where are we going? Are we going up? Oh, we are right at the beginning. I do wonder if there's been any hot patches out yet that have fixed any of like how overpowered this class is. Hammer. Get charged from this side. Yeah, I can hit. One of these guys I swear is cheating with how fast he's whipping around and killing stuff. It's crazy. There we go. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. I thought they were like whipping back and forth, being all crazy like, but they're not. This is a usual, a very typical horde point, so I need this, and I need this. A lovely mutie! Nope. Didn't mean to throw that, but I guess I just lives that now. I can hear it below me. Where is it? Oh, I guess it was up there.
Trapper terminated.
There we go, trapper gun. Ooh, small diamantine. My dog just looked at that guy and was like, no, I'm not gonna bite him. Dog got him though.
That is not our concern. Our orders are clear.
Who will uphold the Lex? I've never noticed that around here all these statues are of space marines. They're all like marines around here. All these. They're all OG marines with swords. Yeah, I'll be fine. I am suspicious of this guy's laser shots. Very suspicious of the way he's in the directions he's firing.
Guardsman's best friend.
Because he just seems to very aggressively directionally know when to be firing. But dodged. Ow. Any grenades at all? Anything? Hey, ammo. How you doing? No, this is regular ammo, not grenade ammo. Bonks. Bonks. Oh, just waltz him. Oh, I know what I have to talk about. Yoink. I have purchased something in the Amazon Prime Day sale using my mom's Amazon Prime. Oh, we're about to get to the fight monstrosity. There it is, that's a Plague Ogre. Oh no, it's a beast of Nurgle.
Give me your teeth.
Oh, we're not taking the beast of Nurgle's teeth. I refuse. So I learnt today, recently. I'm gonna hit this thing. There we go. If you shoot that thing in the face, it hits through the mouth and hits the squishy back pod, which is amazing. Our office is being renovated at work, so I invested in a coffee machine. Instead of just doing French press cafetiere coffee, which I do in my house, I'm actually doing drip style coffee in the office for me and my boss. There we go. This is gonna be interesting with this gunner. No grenades still. No grenades still, fellas. Fellas, I'd like grenades. Also, look, yeah, you know, it was in the Prime sale. Just a little coffee machine. We both drink coffee. It's my new boss as well, which is even better because my old boss didn't drink coffee, so I wouldn't buy a coffee machine for the office because it felt like more. It was abusing his space. So now I'm like putting stuff in it that both of us would benefit from. So I was like, right, I'll buy a coffee machine. It wasn't expensive. I bought some coffee that I like. I've said if he wants to buy some ground coffee that he likes, he can, because you just change the filter between what I make and what he makes. Because I'll be making 2 cups to 3 cups to have in my to drink, basically. So, what? I'm such a thief.
Hadron here. Pay attention. Data stream.
Hadron here. Pay attention. Good on your death grips. I basically can just sit here and I'll be fine. I really don't need to move that much.
Your incompetence is showing. The interrogator requires a reboot.
I'm not being useful with this team at all. I'm just, you know, being a detriment to them all.
I can only imagine you attempted random inputs until it worked.
Pretty much.
But it is now working.
Oh. I'm taking health damage then instead of toughness damage. So yeah, you know, it's just a Russell and Hobbs little coffee machine. It's gonna sit on top of our fridge.
Fix it! Quickly!
Oh my god, this is rough. Look at this.
Has somehow succeeded in resolving the issue.
There we go.
Interrogation approaching completion.
Does that shield charge yet? Yeah, it has. Anything here? Stunned. Yeah, I wanted to buy a coffee machine for work for a while. Our IT teaching office has one. So there was never really a reason for me to buy one, but I always make my coffee at home. But I was having like a rough morning, so I was like, right, I'm on my own. I'll make myself some instant coffee after having made premium for a while.
Has access.
I was like, I need to change from instant to the more premium drip. So I just like, right, I'll look. And I messaged my mom and I was like, what's a good brand? And she was like, oh, you know, any brand. She has a coffee and a fridge in her room. That is like, I used to have a mini fridge in my room, not like a fridge in my room. But yeah, also hi Raven. But coffee machine wouldn't be the one. I would, you know, I'd never sleep. Oh yeah, yeah, brother. Get out of here, fellas. What? There's a second one? Bro. Freaking annoying, dude. Man. I got hit by the dog. What's my dog doing? Where have you been at, Death Grips? Pointer's Claw and Diamond Dog. That's got to be a Ted Lasso reference. Seamus, Lola Baldwin, and Godwin. One of them has to be. Go guess for my co-workers to have another smallest festival than like. Didn't provide a date, location, and then festival. Then you'd have to go and you'd have to help out. Diamond Dog Metal Gear reference? No, Diamond Dog a Ted Lasso reference. That guy just ripped them all to shreds. That was crazy. I'm all out here with my Ted Lasso references. I love me some Ted Lasso. Hey fellas, catch. Can we also catch one of them out here? Did he literally run through and nab the grenades as I turned my back? Crazy.
I never surrender!
That recovering 10% of bullets back on shots then is crazy. It was a voluntary outside of work. Yeah, just don't turn up. Unless you can put it in your CV as work experience. Like, every bit of voluntary work can go on your CV to assist. Hey up, bro. Got him. Let me get rid of that tiny bit of corruption. 312 health is pretty nice. That 19% extra health is fire. Got you. Where's that Mauler? Mauler's gone. It's the thing with like working IT and people wanting you for doing that sort of stuff outside of work. It's like it has to be paid because this is my hobby, it is my job. So if I'm doing any more than those two things, I have to be paid for my time and my attention because of how many other things that I'll be like working on at the same time. I don't do free IT for people outside of like what I do. Just walking my way downtown, walking fast, beating ass with my hammer. And I'm squashing you. And your head explodes under the iron fist. The Lux is the Lux for the Lux.
I love the guard, except for the
That's such a bullshit chest. That's so fucking horrible. What the hell? Game gave us a whole chest and was like, oh yeah, we'll give you, best we can offer you is one little ammo pack for the three of you. Holy shit, I'm getting fucking ripped here. Brother, sit down. I got this. I hate this area so much. This is the worst bit of this entire mission, is this entire section. It sucks. There's nowhere good to stand. Everyone with a gun has a direct laser access to you. Door entrances are in that terrible positions. There's another one that guys is going to be freaking people up. I'm putting this down here because I'm going to need it. I need to get my chuffers back. I want to put ammo down here too. Set myself up with a little thing up here. Like, there's no good way to stop them getting up here. They just hop the fence now. Like, this guy here. There's a fucking 7-foot drop there, and he's hopping the fence up to us, and it's spiked. It's bullshit that they made it so they can do that. Coming in from over here makes sense. There's a fucking walk-up path. This is one of the worst levels that needs like a redesign. Motherfucker just, like, shot him. Pretty sure I shot him. And nothing happened. So. Today might be the day I switch the Warhammer music off. I only did 2 volunteer festivals on my belt, one of which I was actually part of organising. That's good. Like, oh, bro. 3 scab shotgunners? Oh, the dog. I've got no grenades, so this area is entirely not fun. Like, even more not fun than it really was. These 2 walk points straight up here. Oh, one of them was down, I didn't even realise. I didn't realise until he got back up again. Brother, how are you climbing that wall? Other than the fact that you guys are corrupted. Oh, I hear him. Thanks, dog. In this house, we hate trappers. So how's everyone's day been? Mine's been... I don't know how to explain this. Not lonely, but lonely. Today. Saw my one boss. Oh, saw my boss that I hardly see a lot today, and my other boss, who I actively work with, was off site, so we saw him briefly and then he left. And I had no apprentice on site today, so it was just me in the office for the most part. So I just decided to take today as a day where I'd roam. I hung out with our DT department. So, yeah. Also, I have 2 notifications. Am I sure? That mutant looked way oversized. No. It's fine. We're going to get toughness back fast. Are we ready to leave yet? Is this about to the blast? Send it. Send it. Send it. I want to watch the beam. It's charging. I've been half paying attention to this level. I really do hate this level. And this guy with his laser gun, the way he's flicking, I just don't need to do anything. See? The Lex is the Lex. For the Emperor! I assume there's notifications of people replying to the Peralta clip. Oh no, it's third going live. I'm going to turn off the notifications on the third server for at here and at everyone. Nothing, suppress, that's my highlights, community events, no notifications. Let's go! Alright, I'm gonna cue up the Warhammer music. We're gonna switch. We've been listening to the in-game music whilst we level. Now that we're leveled, oh, access to damnation level stuff. Right, options, audio, music, gone. Let's go to, not Discord. I want to go to Spotify. No, that's not Spotify either. That's Spotify. And then I want to play the Space Marines Rage. There we go. Come here, death grips. So other than doing Maelstrom missions, I just need to level stuff, I think. Call your thighs death grips? Nice. I'll call my dog death grips because he see treats. He see treats. He see treats. Lots of treats. He's a very good boy. How much money? 189 is not going to be enough to get that up. Curio wise, we got a Curio 19. It's not you. It's not you. Toughness, 15% max health over 14% max health. Hmm. 14, 19, 18. We're going to switch you out to 15. I'd rather have like higher max health percentages and then added that on. And then my next step to leveling is just to get all them up to orange. How much is it going to cost to get my shield consecrated? 206. So one run and we can get our shield into orange. So we'll get our second blessing, which will make it even stronger. Because right now it's strong, but we can go stronger. And then from there, we're also doing a higher difficulty set of missions. So I expect to go down a bit more. We're going to Damnation now. This is the second to hardest difficulty before we start doing Maelstrom. And once we do Maelstrom, we're set to go for, like, farming. I also just need to show off, I did get, as a cosmetic, the Cyber Mastiff Transcendent armor. So we're no longer just, like, little bit Robot Dog. We are fully embracing Robo Dog. So we've got Gwena, Gwenya? Gwenev? It's, and the rest of the names. I don't know how to pronounce my character's name. I hit random a bunch of times and it picked this name and I was like, okay.
Flow Control Hub Delta 12. Second waypoint, Refinery Delta 17. Deploy interrogators to induce hyper...
Names like Gwenia drop your keys off a bridge or something like that.
Indicated. Isolation protocols will be implemented upon your return in case...
Look at that cop on the right. Just chilling with his excost. Whereas my cop on the left, she's doing what I do. She's doing the leg bounce when she's anxious. Anxious to go. Whereas the Ogren's like picking at his own fingers. This is a squad. Let's go.
Ruin, decay,
Okay.
and a poor
Poor
line
line
of
of
sight.
sight.
Bad place to fight a battle.
Cytheria, Ingron, and Havoc. Havoc's a terrible name for a cop. We do have Crusher. FBI, open up! It's the Guardians of the Galaxy, the literal worst Guardians of the Galaxy, except we have Death Grips and Crusher. They're dead. Oh, I think they're dead.
You are on the incorrect level.
She likes to complain at us about being at the incorrect level. I'm helping. Oh shit, a witch. Oh, I died then. Get out of my head, I won't do it. I won't activate the witch. It's me, Cop, here to disperse crowds. You unruly protesters.
Alas, that the elevator is in such poor repair. Try not to think heavy.
Let's see. Yoink. Brothers? Hello? Fellas, are you blind? Oh fuck. We're about to blow up. What the fuck? How the fuck are you down there and down? I don't even know how he get to him. Did he activate the witch on his own?
Rest easy, veteran. We will continue the fight. Go there!
Yoke mine in place!
I'm gonna get zapped for a bit. That'll be fine. Something's gonna attack us up here. A big guy.
Well, I always claimed its right!
Again? With the fucking mutant? There it is! Found it! Sorry, Ingron, getting you up. This is already a massive difficulty bump. I don't have any electric grenades to use. That was crazy. That little burst was insane. I need to go back here. Get some health back. How much health are we rocking right now that we've changed that other one? We're still 304, so we could be higher. No, I heard that. I heard you. I heard you. I heard you. No trappers for me today. I don't know where that trapper's gone. This difficulty spike's crazy. I need to be using the stun more, that's for sure. Did you play the Warhammer Space Marines 2? I did. I haven't played Rogue Trader. That's on my list of things to play this year. I've got 6 weeks off, so I'll be playing, probably playing it then. Flex my toughness. This is manic. This is crazy. Difficulty adjustments of this right now, wild. I'm loving this. This just feels like all over the place. I'd recommend it if you like Warhammer. Space Marines 2 is really, really good. It's a grimoire, not a gun. I'm taking it. We have the book, so now we can take the disadvantages of having the book. Where the fuck is that trapper?
It's really quite simple, varlets. Follow the pipes.
Follow the pipes. This is popping off. Sit still. Oh, did I get lucky? What the hell happened there? Oh, I'm out of ammo as well. Holy, that's not good. You bought Shadow and Sonic instead? That seems like a poor choice. The Ogren just using his pickaxe to just cut his way through these guys. I love my big Ogren boy. He threw me far, but we're fine. Thanks, dog. Please, Mike, just spare time. He is mining for diamonds. The Ogren walks along going, Creeper! Aw, man.
This is suboptimal.
Creeper! Oh man. Stupid sniper. Loser. L sniper. L sniper. Ow. Come get me. There. I think this is rogue trading music. Oh.
Ammo to be secured.
Where is it? Where is it? Come here. I'm glad they got the Poxer then. He's awful. This is going down here.
No respite from the legs.
We're in it to win it. Whack. Sick. Oh, bless. Bless having ammo. Oh, my lord. Oh, praise the Messiah. Give me ammo in a time like this.
No control hub Delta 12 accessed. Commendable.
I hear it. Damn it, I didn't dodge it in time. But the dog whacked it? Oh, his dog whacked it. Okay. Let's press the button and then let's.
Demonic tissue is interfering with the
He's down already?
mechanisms.
Okay, Sophia. Are you AFK?
Watch for a pop.
So my stuns do a stack of bleed too. So whenever I stun an enemy, it makes them bleed a little bit. Don't know why.
I never surrender.
Thanks, dog. Dog saved my life then. Last night the dog saved my life. I hear it, it's coming. Not a pox burster. Or tox bomber, or whatever you want to call them. Pox bursters explode, tox bombers are the ones that throw the grenades. The grenades that make them like way more savage too. We are just a mini tank. The aim and goal of our build is just tank hits and push back the forces. Ingram stealing my hits, peeing me up a little. Hello. Thanks for jumping down in front of me, fella. I can't even get out of this corner to like help with the main objective. Where the hell did that dog go? Oh, my dog got the dog. Get up, you. Are they AFK? They are AFK. Oh no, they're not AFK. I thought they were AFK. We're good. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what's happening. This is crazy. Fucking Ogren walked in front of me as I was about to shoot that guy. Where's he going? I definitely need the whatever curio bonus it is for reload speed. It makes it 2 times more intense. Yeah, it does. Fella, hurry the fuck up. Got places to be, things to kill. This place is also updated, so it's got some new music at the top.
You're not much one for small talk, are you? I don't think that's
Kind of wacky, I can 2-shot rages, but 1-shot a regular NPC then.
Adamant, unyielding, unstoppable! Target! Age will not prevail against the light. That one!
It was amazing how many gunners they had there, like enough to wipe out our entire squad. But it's like, oh yeah, I'll just tank it and just walk straight through them all, whacking away with the dog.
Take them down! Switch! Hey!
Follow Pipe Cluster 79 Alpha 341 to find the refinery.
This fucking firing squad of fellas here. I walk around the worst corner to find las gunners because they wipe out my stamina so fast. At least death grips can still take things out in the spin.
Call your targets! Do not waste your shots!
I just now have to be more careful with how I use my toughness. There it is. Woo! And boost.
I concur. Next breakers and heretics muster close by. Don't let the trapper flee!
I'm not near anyone, so I'm just taking loads of damage without getting anything back for it. So I need to quickly just throw myself into this. actually crazy like levels of damage there.
Regrettably, no
This is the
one
first
else
time as
did.
the Albite I've been down in a long time where it's not been me falling off the map. Hey fellas, you just chatting having a drink over here? What if I like shove my big mallet up your head? Upside your head. Okay, so there's a Tox bomber somewhere. That's gonna be a nice. Oh no, the dog got it. Dog gone. I'm coming. I'm on my way. This difficulty spike's wacky. I need a 10. Ooh. Got a new tie for work. I need a 10. I think it's been an expensive day. But I break up next week.
You have no way out! Target identified! Alright! Take them down!
Free him.
Terminated!
There we go. Now we have a fight club zone at least. That Arbite's playing as a squaddy and not a selfish one like I am. I've made my character a tank just so I can run through levels. That Arbite was like, nah, I'm gonna play for the squad. Which, to be honest, that's what I'm switching back into as soon as. This is the harder penance to do. So, I could become more of a tank if I didn't want to also have a dog. Where the fuck's this plague ogre in? What? Where? It's up here. Where? Can literally anybody mark this plague ogre in? Whoa, I just got doinked. Oh my god, we just got wiped. I got stuck in between an angry army on one side and a massive gun on the other, and my hits weren't like stunning him in any way, shape, or form. As we had a plague ogre in that I couldn't find because we got so separated. GGWP. Wow. Let's go. Let's go. Calling us the F-slur because we died near the end of a hard mission. Let's go. What a guy. Waiting for him to show up here. Probably deserved it. Nah. I'm gonna say no. So I'm looking for Havoc to show up in here. Or they're offline. What's the thing? I want to get him. I want to get him banned. I'm gonna get him hit. I'm gonna doink him. Gonna get him done live. Game will tell me at the end. Where is it? Reanimator. Let's find him. You. Let's report for communication abuse. Use of slur again. Basically just use of slur, really. Use of slur in text chat to insult team. Let's go. It's an easy way to get one bad strike off your failed missions list. I'm gonna say no if we can get another person in. Fella decided to go straight to the F slur because we died. Bro couldn't handle the fact that we died.
Admonition have gained control of a complex transmission station in the Hourglass.
You got that beta
Its
mindset.
broadcasts are undermining morale in that region, and even
Like, suck it up, it's a video game, we died. No need to go calling people the F slur. Like, move on. Touch grass, go outside. Alright, see you later, Raven.
You have come seeking the sun, but its light will not avail those who are
Keating,
willfully blind.
Severina, Skit, and Gunba.
Another faithless heretic comes crawling out of the sand. Whose name should I put on the execution warrant?
We have no need of names, you and I. Our roles were set long ago. I am a herald of rebirth, and you will die.
Many have tried to kill me. I'm still here.
All stories come to an end, blind one. You will drown in ignominy.
Gonna drown in igna pussy, look more like.
Ventilation outflow. Move with purpose.
We work as a team.
We got him running. Oh yes, it's a good type of cycle where they mark the enemies through the walls for us. Let's go. Oh, is that the veteran? Let's go. My favorite type. Enemies through wall markings. We've got the build of a great team. And this guy knows how to use the shield stun. Oh, even better. This is a great day.
We fight to the end! Do you hear me?
This gun? It's just a shot pistol, I'm pretty sure.
Are these truly the best you have?
It's partnered with a shield in this.
By all means, they will shatter in
I
your...
don't know if I can look at my build as we move, so I don't know if I can tell, but I'm pretty sure it's just a shot pistol.
Prioritize target! Guilty! I cannot be stopped!
That Newty just absolutely pushed the Plague Ogre out. That's so funny. Yeah, come on, fella. Come on. Come on, big boy. Come on. Yeah! The true Arbite power. I can't run to you. Oh. I got you, fella. I got you.
On your feet, son.
Come on, Keating.
Heed me. It is our duty to respect.
Yeah, I can't look at my build. I'm pretty sure it's a shot pistol. If you go on the
What we have been trying to do.
Dark Tide class builder site, that's the official one. Oh, I'm getting fucked up right now. I just walked out and just let myself get like sprayed into without putting the shield up. See that dog jump then? That's hilarious. Give me this. Needs to use the shield more. Where is it? I hear it. I see it. I can hear the monster behind me. Beast of Nurgle. Where's the beastie boy I can hear? I can definitely hear something. I thought I heard a beast of Nurgle then, I was really worried.
I know all about
Oh, I need healing in the next one.
where you came from.
Am I supposed to find that concerning?
How much charge have we got? Alright, there's no point in a test bomb. This next section's gonna be hard. Gimme, gimme. Oh, yoinked.
One way. Proceed onward.
You only need grenades. To fact, I only need grenades as well.
Access point. Restore the power to the turbine brakes.
Oh, we got Doom music on the go. BFG Division. Let's go, let's go.
That's one. Continue effort. Yes. Oh, Grant, that was impressive. Liability.
Come on, dog, protect me.
That's one. Get a hold of the psycho. Completion is close. Neutralize.
2 dogs. Bad puppies. I don't negotiate with bad dogs. I'll beat my way through these bad dogs as hard as I can. Boom.
Now for the circuit breakers.
They've nerfed Arbite sidestep. Or, they're probably not nerfed it, it's probably just less than I think it should be. Which to me feels like a nerf because this character's overpowered.
I see you miss basic locomotion training, conscript. Right, conscript.
Yeah, come on lads.
Fight. You have
Took
no
us
way
back.
out.
And we keep moving.
Eugene!
A question for him on Terra. I have no intelligence on this matter.
You made no bargain.
Quite illogical.
For the Emperor and one another.
Get it! All right!
Yep, I heard it.
Eugene!
This is wacky. It's gonna be the. It's like a shot pistol. I think it's the name of the
I
gun.
never surrender!
shot pistol and power shields. Like, I can't look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's the shot pistol. Constantly hearing the sounds of what sounds like a beast of Nurgle, but not seeing the beast of Nurgle. Oh, I got some ammo then. Oh, I'm so ammo rich. Oh, I'm so full of ammo. I gun has all the bullets now. Oh, I got some plot steel too. Oh, currency. Oh, I'm so ammo rich. Oh my god, I feel ready to burst. Oh, I got more plot steel. Oh, I'm in the diamantine. Oh, I'm hungry. I'm hungry for plot steel diamantine.
The enforcers on Atoma are soft. Regard the fruits of the spade.
Oathbounds?
Pound and pound, recommend.
Grenades! Finally! Yippee!
Conscript, on your feet. Now. Take down pacifiers. Take them down.
Get up, fellas. It's about to get a whole lot worse.
It is not too late. Nurgle's grace can yet be yours.
I know my duty. All that I am, I owe to Grendel.
Yeah, it's a shot pistol. Shot pistol and shield. But mine's crazy buffed, so this is like near insane level already. Brother, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, he died. That dude died for the last time, killed himself, and quit. He like absolutely weak. Pathetic heretic. I don't know why we're trying to go left. Oh fuck! There it is! There he is!
Drone! This thing's even tougher than a regular old ring. Going up!
Come on, you! Down you go! Down you go! That's better! 2 monstrosities down this run.
Alright! Got a pox burster!
Woo! Let's go! And let's aim down the gap. Alright, that definitely needs to go. Jump. Nobody kills me but me! I'm the one who kills myself in this level, not you guys. Punks. It's not how this works. I will kill all the enemies. Give me one.
The house cabin!
sight.
Don't waste your breath. My operatives are loyal.
Ready to
They
go.
die for me and I for them.
Then we shall be sure to give you the opportunity.
Adamant, unyielding, unstoppable!
I'm unflappable!
Kill one isn't enough. Find the others.
That was wacky, in a good way. On to the next monstrosity! Show us your tendrils, beast. Let me hit you with everything I've got. Let's go! Show yourself, freak. Up we go! Come on, fellas, up we go! The dog ain't doing much now, is it? Get out of here! Sit down! On your feet, soldiers! So I definitely know some tweaks I'd make to this build, but right now I am just trying to level these two new weapons. Oh, crunchy audio, let's go. Where is that top climber? Ooh, this is wilding. This is what I always wanted Darktide to be. And now I'm gonna relearn how to play the harder difficulties and move up to the top level, and then start doing the even harder stuff. I can't target it, but I'm aware it's there behind us.
So the demon has some fight left. Oblige it.
Well, always claimed its pride!
Now we just have to purge the beast.
Kill that putbag!
Keep fighting. You've come too far to fail now.
Catch them as they drop in. Mysterious ticking noise, the worst noise in this game. One of the worst noises in this game. Hit the button!
That signal's origin.
No respite from the legs! Stand up and fight, close-face! Heading the way!
solely a melee build now. We have no ammo. Now we just have to leave, which is great. Dog, get it. Dog, get it. Going down literally at the last second is awful, but could be worse. Look at the dog just walking away in this level.
I smell a puff hound!
That was awesome. That was so much fun. Look at all those penances, and we maxed level of the baton and shield, or whatever it's called, the hammer and shield. And we got an orange 490 damage shotgun. Crazy. Absolutely insane. Oh, we're so close in this one too. We can get that instantly. How much damage is that? 977? So that's worse. That's being sacrificed. I'm gonna get the shot pistol done. Sacrifice weapons into the shot pistol. There we go. We need to go and collect in a second, but let's also just
Look upon your weaponry with respect.
bump this
for it
to
is the
orange.
nugget of the Omnissiah. It is done.
We've got full bore. And speed reload.
Our prayers have been answered.
We can empower these to like the max if we just grind, so we're gonna keep these. Reload speed and damage to unyielding is perfect. And then that was block efficiency and damage to unyielding as well. So both strong. So let's go and collect, and then we'll see what else we can buff up. Because those weren't even like max level for what we're doing.
Let me guide you in the act of penance.
God, we've got so many. So if we go cosmetics on this now. Black, we're going red. And if we go here and we go cosmetics, we go red as well. Let's go. The shock maul and suppression shield and the subductor shot pistol. There you go, Kip. It's a subductor shot pistol and riot shield. We unlocked a new helmet then? Oh, is it this red helmet? Looks good, but not for my build. And then we unlocked the Vigilant. But the Lex. The Lex is the Lex. And then we unlocked this stance with the dog. Him hiding behind the shield. That's cute. Anything else here? I think that was it. Oh, we're just going to max this out now. There, and one more point. There we go. So that's now maxed. So what we do need to finish leveling is the bolt pistol. And I think we're going to stick with the shock ball suppression shield, and we are just going to switch to the bolt pistol. And do the last 5 levels of the bolt pistol. What have we done for some milk? Range, scriptures, missions, limited time axe. Any bolt pistols or anything? Shredder, vigilant autogun, braced autogun. What's the autoguns I need to level now? So I need to get a vigilant autogun, so I can start leveling that from scratch. So we'll do that from here. We can afford it quite easily. Wounds, 20% max health. Oh my god. You. And that means that I can't, that doesn't matter. An 18 for a 20. For sure. And a 15 for a 19. That's crazy how much max health we just gained. And we can buff that even further. That's insane. What other cosmetic have we unlocked? Oh, legs. We got some new legs as well. Oh. There we go. Some red legs, but we're not using them. So we have a vigilant at 144. We'll see if we can find something better.
How may I serve?
A bolt pistol at 380. That bolt pistol's already better at 541. We'll acquire that. And then we have a vigilant on us right now, so we just need to compare every vigilant. That's already better. 210. 147. 151. Ammo is less though. So if we double up on ammo. Range hits add 1 stack of bleeds to enemies. Right, we're gonna run this for the bolt pistol. We're gonna see if we can refine the bolt pistol real quick. Because we want to change damage to unyielding to be damaged, well, yeah, 25% damage to unyielding enemies. We want to re-blast this with whatever we have at level 4, which is execution, so bonus to staggered. What do we have at level 3? Ranged enemies, ranged hits add 3 stacks of bleed to enemies. Point blank shots cause an explosion, exposure rate is increased by 20%. Damage bonus, toughness on kill. We'll go with lethal proximity. Can we consecrate this? We can technically consecrate this. So we get a secondary perk. So if we re-bless this... No, what am I doing?
From the forge cometh miracles. From miracles cometh deliverance.
Alright, the game's crashing right now or something. It has to be. Something's going on with the game. Or with our server. There we go. Let's run entry in the Hadron. Because I need to not re-bless this, I need to refine this. I need to get rid of the 20% damage with maniacs to be... like... reload speed? Or 25% on flak, actually. We'll do that.
A new marvel is awoken.
We can technically empower this once. No, we can't. We can't even empower the shield up to 400. That's literally why we're doing this grind. I am just going to see
My service is
from here.
fulfillment.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Transaction
5.
confirmed.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Purchase complete.
Right, that can go. 512. We're trying to beat 541. 540. We came close. Okay, so of these, we can discard all of these. So we have a 144, a 244 here. 203, 244. We'll mark you as the favorite right now. 243, 241, and a 233. So if we discard you, and you. Even if it is 410 with a high ammo, I think I'm going with this as the next one that we do. 20 ammo is going to suck, but high damage output and stopping power can be boosted. So we're going to start getting that leveled now. So we want to make the vigilance at least level 2. So at least we get a perk, because we have no perks at all, and at least we get the stamina, so we can refine the item and make it so it does damage to unyielding. For dirt cheap. So our build currently is shock and suppression with a bolt pistol that does explosives. It only damages the collateral. Its only downside is the collateral on its low. But we only do it for 5 levels, which is 3 runs. Prove your worth in damnation to levels to access Auric. Okay, so we are actually playing at the hardest difficulty now, so that's the adjustment. Is that we're doing Auric levels. No, we're doing damnation. We're doing the highest difficulty.
All signs point to the Mobians not working alone in this little disaster. They've got help on the inside. Fortunately, the shifting battlefronts have opened up access to Archive and Sycorax. Once you're in the deep archives, your servo skull will help you dig up the dirt. She's a handy lass.
Where are we? Where's this start?
Not the finest side of Tertium.
Oh, Hatch. I'm working on a good mood, and I don't need you spoiling it.
Clean streets mean only that the crime continues behind closed doors.
The Archivum should be just up ahead. Isn't that nice?
Oh, we're doing Archivum.
Well,
Judgment will rise.
Good. You're in the right place.
Eliminate that door!
Throwing grenade!
gunner sighted.
Getting into cover!
Scout shotgunner! Scout!
Peter Griffin went down. Is Peter Griffin an Arbite? Does he have a dog with Brian?
Be alert. You'll find a surveyor's entrance.
Right, this thing sucks ass now. What's happened to my boy? Uh-oh.
Punish them for their temerity!
This really is like carrying a pistol, a bolt pistol, like a shotgun. No beasts, no beasts of Nurgle, please. We left a guy behind. This is a bolter. This is a proper bolter. But a bolter on this character isn't good. A bolter on an Ogre is good. Recoil control as an Arbite is terrible. It's only good with the shotgun.
An arbitrator is never lost. Shock mine is down.
I am nothing.
You did.
You keep talking like that, and I'll take my friend.
Really, you don't need to aim the bolter. You can just like run and gun with it, and it'll be fine. But
If you can clear the vent subsects, you can get inside. Find out for the alarm.
ammo crate, health crate. I didn't spawn ammo. Which door? Right door. Benefit to the bolter though is just like you shred hordes.
Take them down.
So at least this thing like fucking rips when it rips.
You do the skull and proud, Lakesmith.
I can hear a monster of some sort. Oh, good song. I'll go up top to press the button. Ba ba bum, ba ba bum.
Another dead hound.
Boom, ba 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 boom, boom, ba ba ba.
Lakesmith.
Arbite's Gunner penance complete.
Eyes open. Shotgunner.
My frame rate's getting tanked using this thing, walking through hordes. Absolutely silly.
Price justice.
It's a good job this is a very linear level up until the end, and then it's just a lot of survival.
Stay the course.
Ranger.
Nothing gets in my way, nothing stops me. Stunned. Waltz, 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 waltz.
Fulmination. Kill that 9-1.
Let's go.
Took you long enough. Get moving.
Away
Don't need the
God
healing.
Emperor be praised.
Next area though is going to be a bit of a slog. I heard the beastie. It's coming. Plague ogre in time. You asshole! I'm gonna fucking die. Get him, dog. Oh, I'm dead. The legs is the legs! The legs is the legs! Shout out to Red.
Defeat! A worthy kill! Katama will be clear in no time!
Wait, there's a whole upper section of this level you can go through? That's sick. Boom, 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 boom.
That one!
Press on through the cogitator, all. Keep your eyes open.
Hey, buddy. Thanks, Moa.
The legs always claimed its prize! Thank you!
Why are we going backwards? We need to be going this way.
This way!
Other than the fact there's a plague ogre incoming from behind.
Ammunition out! Cannot reload!
We are here to deliver judgment. This is the will of the left.
Dedicate station!
I don't need it yet. Oh, you beauty.
Adamant! Unyielding! Unstoppable!
Blew that guy's legs off. Boom, 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 boom. Come on. My dog just jumped off the map.
Get clear! Big duty! Guilty!
Where? Oh.
Aid me! Now! Box flame on!
There we go.
Ammo! Kill the gunner!
Mark that I am noting all irregularities in performance.
Here we go. The Tim Pot tyrant finds again.
When we're down, we're down.
Oh, perfect.
Hearing that Mara was a
There we go. We got a colour back.
talks about it.
Hoarding ammunition is a crime.
What's on first?
I need to look careful.
Can anyone grab the brother?
I never surrender.
The charge, damn it. Want to blast.
Thought that robot was a little bit crazy.
This is how the lights is sound. Neutralize. Last one. Box faster. I have to reload. Target.
I just became an auto rail gunner for a second. I was moving that fast while aiming down my sight. I didn't need to like really focus on anything else.
Where are you all?
We are the fury of the Lex.
And the will of the Judge of Terra.
Kill that Corkin.
Join up with one another. Form a group.
Just get jumped from the left.
This is the place. Deploy the servo skull and follow her lead.
Medicaid station. Make it.
Pay attention. Commencing Auspex sweep. Do not stray.
Castigator's arrest, let's go!
Incoming hound! Kill the mutant!
There are answers in this place, but you will require your Auspexes to find them. What are you waiting for?
Scan's done. No thanks to the rest of you.
The servo skull is waiting for your data upload.
Here you go, Servo Skull.
It demands more data. The servo skull will lead the way.
Sharpshooter!
Most dangerous path across it as possible.
Aha! You have finally arrived at a new search location. Feel free to recommence scanning. The servo skull awaits your data. I await your compliance.
Come on, Scully.
This is a suitable location, varlets. Why are you not scanning?
Why are you not scanning?
Back here, Parker.
Data hoard is complete in this area. Upload your findings to the servo skull.
Sticky bomb!
No escape! No quarter! No mercy! I am not without some small ability!
Days that you just sit here and wait now. And then run to leave.
Weapons spent! Reloading! They have a defensive position! Shock mine in place!
Look at him go!
Stand clear! Pass bag! Hostiler! I like ammunition!
You've got the data, which makes me a happy man. Get out of there.
Something, something! Sniper!
Let's go! GGWP. Wait, Moa left? Moa left before the end? Why did he leave? At the end? 21k, 175, and a beefed up... Oh my god, we've got like 2 levels on the bolter then. Well, we can get 2 levels on the bolter really easily. We'll do one more run, and that'll be it for the stream tonight.
Tell me of your deeds, so that I may record them.
Claiming my rewards. At ease, Ogren. Why? Nice.
Carry his lighting.
Toughness on elite kills gonna be good. Puncture. Range hits add 4 stacks of bleed to enemies. I think I need that with execution. No, staggered? No, we got lethal proximity. Lethal proximity with puncture, I think, are the ones that we need to do. So lethal proximity and puncture.
Your weaponry is a gift from the Omnisire. Treat it with care.
Ooh, I can't. The lethal proximity is now. I can re-bless it up. Bless up. Lethal proximity. 25% explosion radius now. It's only going to move collateral and reload speed up. Oh, and mobility. What does it do to this? A lot of everything. Nice. What about this? Ooh, power output. Oh.
Interesting. Your departure was anticipated.
What's this dog called? Draco and Annual. Woo! One more. Possibly 2 more. I'm gonna say 1 more for the night. Wait, Ghost's live? What's Ghost live doing?
Refinery Delta 17 has been identified as a heretic pathogen laboratory. First waypoint, Flow Control Hub Delta 12. Second waypoint, Refinery Delta 17. Deploy interrogators to induce hyperbaric pressure. Heretic presence indicated.
He's doing crypt.
Isolation protocols will be implemented upon your return in case of subversion.
For our bites. Let's go! Harken Derek Demos with Phobos and Rat Spike. And Unit 779. Let's go. Dogs everywhere, let's go.
Hangar Delta 179 75 attained. Continue to upper level.
Let's go.
Is mistreated, but functional. Put it to use.
So the blood fodder comes milking, killing. What now?
Just shooting it through the wall.
This way. A precise fighting.
Alright, the next area we're gonna get out of is gonna be wacky. He's such a casual looking Arbite.
Sextus Minoris 1-4. Relax his hungry. Mend your wounds. This medical station is ready. Be gone!
Proceed across the hammer to flow control hub Delta 12.
Getting close!
Wacky, let's go. Come on. Come on. Gotcha, Poxburster.
Die, faithless hound!
Many approaches, many exits. Proceed with caution.
I recommend you follow the pipes.
Oh, you can! Grenade! Gunner inside! Alright!
We just started swinging and walking and hoped that eventually we'd end up in the spot we wanted to be in. And we did. Oh, how we did. We made it through. Let's go.
The sum of your parts is greater than the individual. In other words, group up.
Group up.
These are dark days. We may not witness their end in our lifetime.
Judgment is eternal. Our edicts will endure long after.
Well done, varlets. I wasn't sure you'd get this far.
I wasn't sure we'd get this far, but we did.
Demonic tissue is interfering with the elevator mechanisms. Purge it.
Making my way downtown, purging beast, hoping for the best as I'm owning. Oh, unlucky, but dog knocks it off. We're good.
Die, faithless hound!
Taking cover, dearie.
Taking cover, dearie.
System access granted. Proceed.
We really are working our way downtown. And I helped. Let's go, we have grenades again. Surprisingly, a lot less witches in this difficulty than I'd thought. That we just keep walking past them and ignoring them.
Cleave to the pipes, varlets.
This is like just such a fight club right now. This is the mission we died on earlier, where we were like really far through before we got the gates. Really shows you how strong that pistol is, or how much damage it's doing when firing.
This is the will of the
Whoa, that was an aggressive level gunning then. But this area is always a problem. Everyone has 3 ways they want to go, different to everyone else. Makes doing anything very difficult. Really?
Don't fear their firepower. Getting close.
Ridiculous.
Judge that beauty.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm so mad.
You are not together. You should be. Now.
We are all insignificant beside the glory of the Lex Imperialis. Yet the Lex Imperialis has only the power we granted. Never forget that.
Instruction. Build hyperbaric pressure by employing data interrogators.
Oh, aid me! Oh.
Die now, and you die in failure.
I knew you would
I'm
not
back.
fail me, less mate.
Data stream. Viable.
You cannot hide from judgment! Yeah. Well, I always claim this prize!
Interrogator status. Inoperative. Remedy. Initial progress. Acceptable.
I have need of your weapon here!
We'll get you out! You're gonna call a foul like me! Fix it! Quickly!
Keep going!
Having a lot of fun just typing for these guys and talking about the barrels.
Chase them down! Flush them out!
I am wounded!
Are you dying? Do it well.
Parameters almost met. Interrogation approaching completion.
This is taking its sweet time. Hi, Slag! Slag, you've joined us. I play through the hardest of the standard difficulties of this game
Cover will save them!
for the last run of the night.
Is it your sense that fails you or your wits? The fight
Pinching
is
this hell.
here.
So playing a character called the Arbite, which is a guy with a dog, and the dog bites people, and he's super cool and very strong, and it's going good. We're having a lot of fun. We keep getting thrown off the map because of barrels, so we're all just having a lot of fun joking about that. I'm sure I'll be able to complete this. It should be fine. We're nearly winning. We're literally at the end. This will be the last one, and then we'll literally just walk out of here now. So now we literally just walk out this door here. Ooh, ammo. Thank you.
Well, we can discuss that later.
So we just have to run out of here. Enemies will appear in front of us. Enemies will appear behind us. We literally have to get to that door and we're done.
I cannot be stopped!
So now we're just playing on an auto scroller. We just roll, because our ability is to walk faster when we use our ability. And I can just stand here and look backwards and be like, bolt pistol my way through the end of this level. We're quite literally at the end of the stream. We're going to do some character prep, and then we're done for the evening. I got that pox burst in the end. Do we get any penances for that one? No penances. That was a good run. How are you doing, Slag? What do we get? 40 diamantite? Not a lot, but we do get an orange shotgun. And we get the bolter to 18 of 20. So we can probably sacrifice a couple weapons into that bolter. Possibly get it up to 19, and then we're closer to switching guns. And going back to this being a classic 20 bullet shooter. I have done a penance. God, it's getting very framey. The game definitely wants a restart. Let's see what penances we've done. What missions we've completed.
Lord Margrave styles himself
Pox burster, and that's it, okay.
May you remain strong.
So, masteries of guns, bolt pistol, 3 levels to put into these. We haven't got enough to upgrade our weapon, unfortunately, but what we can do is sacrifice into the bolt pistol. We want to get rid of the shotgun. 244, 147. That can go as well, I guess. Do some editing and kicking back. Nice. Coolio. In fact, yeah, I'll keep that. We don't need that one anymore. That can be unfavorited. That'll give us a little bit. Is there anything we can level? We can't do this because we've only got 40. We can empower it. No, we can't because it costs 50 to empower, so maybe not. So we'll do shop run.
What is your instruction?
Nothing in the shop, that's good. Nothing in the shop here, that's okay. No, and wounds and stamina, right. Oh! We're gonna raid into someone. If Ghost's still alive, we're gonna raid into Ghost. If Ghost isn't live anymore, we're gonna raid into Suki. Ghost better still be live because I want to watch him play some Crypt of the Necrodancer. Thanks Twitch. Just don't know my lower viewer friends or anything on the lower section of this page. That's good.
Was I staring? I'm so
Who was that?
sorry. My mind was wandering through past glories.
Come on, PC. Come on, Twitch. He better not be looking to raid into me, because it looks like he's ending. He better not be ending. I'm gonna quit out the game for now, because it's really making my PC lag. Right, he said he's not ending. He's starting a different game. Perfect. Boom. Anybody who's here, I'm sending you over. I will be back soon. Sorry, I was checking with Ghost. Right, Slag, I know you're already there, but I'm sending you back over to him anyway, so you can chat to him as a raider. I will be back on Thursday, probably tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I definitely want to be live tomorrow, but possibly Saturday.